Hello and welcome to the last tackle. 2 games left in the Betfred Super League. It's going to be an exciting end to the season. To discuss all things rugby league, I'm delighted to welcome to the studio Kev Brown and Adrian Morley. Gents, thanks for coming in. I want to start with Wigan. Matty Peet has extended his contract for an extra 4 years, and he said, "The club is in my DNA, and as a leader, my role here is very clear."
And it is clear it's a massive role. I think what he's done already, he's got silverware for the club. He's bringing juniors through as well. But I just think he's very calm and composed. They went through a bit of a dip at the start or the middle period of the year, and there was no panic. And the same now, they've just beat Leeds by 50 points, and he wasn't getting carried away. I just think he's very grounded. And I think they're set up for a great end of season. I think they're the favourites to win some silverware, not only the league leaders, but the big one at Old Trafford. And then in the next 4 years, I think it's going to be a very, very good time for the Wigan club.
He's doing things right, isn't he? Top of the table. Obviously, these academy players. He's doing things very right.
He is, yeah. Challenge Cup winners last year. But when he did get named as the head coach at Wigan, there certainly was questions asked, should have they gone for a more experienced, like a named coach?
He's Wigan through and through.
He is Wigan through and through, and I think he quieted and then people who doubted, just when you listen to him in interviews, either pre or post game, you can tell he's very assured about himself, and I think it's great. And the scary thing for the other teams in Super League, he is still improving as a coach. It's great that the club have shown faith in him, and I think it's rosy times for the Warriors.
Very assured, but also very measured as well, isn't he?
He is. He doesn't. I think one thing is clear, that he demands effort and energy, and if he doesn't get that, he suffers no fools. So the line is clear. What he says before, and it is clear with Matty P. He demands success. I think being a person from Wigan, he knows how much, and he's brought the community together as well. It's not just the club. He's got out to all the amateur clubs,
which was always a big part of Wigan, wasn't it?
Huge part, and you see the juniors coming through. Junior in December who's come through, he lived a couple of 100 metres away from the stadium, and Matty Peet's been massive in his progression from the academy, like a lot of players. But I think the quality of a coach, sometimes when you look at the players across the board, they're all playing better than wherever they've been before. Jake Wardle, he mentioned that the weekend. So very, very good coach, and I think, like Moz said, he's only going to get better.
Right, so it was 50-0 at Leeds. They beat Salford a game before, and in a game before that, they won 34-0 at Catalan. It's the old Wigan defence we're seeing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think they definitely are the form team of Super League at the moment. They have been a little bit inconsistent this year, but they're getting it right at the right time, and that was a massive statement last week to go to Headingley Stadium. Leeds, one of the powerhouses of Super League, really, and to put 50 points and concede none it sends out a massive message to Super League. And Leeds are in a bit of trouble, but we're gonna flying high.
Castleford at home, Lee away for Wigan. Wigan top on points difference at the moment. Do you think they're going to get the league leaders?
I do. I can't see them slipping up any points. I think the fact that they've timed the run almost perfectly to peak at the big time of the year, and the way that he's tried a few things out with Jay Field playing in the arse and then Bevan French, and it's clicked now. I think the spine, definitely with Brad O'Neill starting and Jay at the back and French and Harry Smith, it just looks so dangerous. But when you put that grit in the middle as well, they just look like a team that I can't see being beaten.
And league leaders is obviously huge, but a home semi-final is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's it. We thought a couple of weeks ago that someone was going to have to go to Catalan, and that would be a very, very tough ask. But, Wigan have probably got one thing on the mind now, and that's league leaders and getting that home tie and bringing some more silverware. Getting that week off's big. You don't
After
have to play as many games. It's been a hell of a long season. There's a couple of injuries. I think Liam Burns nursing a hamstring, so to get that week off's crucial.
And what about your old club Leeds?
Yeah, they're in a bit of trouble.
I know they can mathematically, but they're not going to reach the playoffs.
No, and it was a big game. Last week there was more of a chance of, really, really outside chance of making them playoffs. You'd think they'd have threw everything at Wigan and, well, whoever they would have been playing, but just to go down in the manner they did, the scoreline they did, I think there's a few questions got to be asked. I think Gary Etherington, he's got to look at his recruitment and, are things right with the coaching staff? You've got to ask all these questions. a lot of expectation on the club. You know, a lot of fans there, and they'd have gone home absolutely devastated. And I think they need to. You know, these next two performances need to be certainly a lot better. Give them something to build on for next year if it's still the same coach, still the same players, etc.
Why have they been so inconsistent, Moz?
It's a good question. You know, there's been games like, you know, Saints away, Wigan away. They've been absolutely fantastic. But you know, it's the $100 million question. You know, if we could answer that, we'd all be great coaches. But I don't know. I mean, injuries do play a part. However, every club goes through injuries, so I don't really know whether it's something to do with the coaching or something's not quite right at the club. But
they don't look together as a group, do they?
No,
they
no.
look like they're ready to argue with each other. There's players leaving. You've got your captain Cruz leaving left, then Blake Austin. It just doesn't look like a club that's all pulling in the same direction.
Club, no.
Right, let's talk about the other games. St Helens 22, Lee Leopards 12. Saints obviously joint top on point difference.
Yeah, and I don't know how they've done it. They've almost gone under the radar for the first time in 5 years, Saints, but they could still be the league leaders, and they're still...
Well, they started on such a high, didn't they, with the World Cup Championship. Then had that dip, then sort of came back, then went back again, and they've just been now like this, haven't they?
Paul Wellings might be an absolute genius because
he's
he's
9
almost,
wins on the bounce, isn't it?
He's took the pressure, and that stat alone, I don't think many people realise how good Saints have been over the last 3 months or so. Because they were so uncharacteristically inconsistent in the start and the midpoint of the season, I think he's took the pressure off that group. And Lee went there to win that game, and Saints had to be as good as they have been previously. I thought Lomax and Makinson in particular were outstanding that night.
I think this result was good for Lee as well, even though they did get beat. It was like a playoff intensity, and to go there, you know, the reigning champs on their own soil, and you know, it could have gone either way right at the end. So I think Lee will take a lot out of that defeat, and you know, because they are going to make the playoffs, let's face it, and you know, we'll see how Lee go. But it was a great game to watch.
Wakefield 10, Catalan 18, and obviously with Castleford's results, unfortunately, it looks like Wakefield are for the drop.
Yeah, and you've got to feel a little bit disappointed for Wakefield because they've got so much stuff going on. You know, with the new stand going up there, and you know, there's rumblings of a new owner coming in. You thought they'd turned a corner, but yeah, Tompkins and Mitchell Pearce just kicked them to death. When Lee Kershaw got the interception try, I thought, oh, they might have a go, but they couldn't get any more points, and that's sort of been the season. Not too far off, but nowhere near good enough, and ultimately are going to get relegated off the back of that.
And what about the Catalans? Obviously, stop the rot.
I think Catalans are well set for a tilt at Old Trafford again, but I think they need to win both the games. I know Saints or Wigan slip up, and I'm not sure they will. I think travelling...
You've got Leeds at home, Salford away.
Yeah, well, if Catalans, the Salford away one for me, I think Salford historically have done well against Catalans at Salford, and Salford are going to be desperate for that. I'm just not sure if Catalans can make the grand final with travelling without the home game. So it's going to be a great couple of weeks.
Castleford 29, Hull 13. Obviously, massive result for Castleford.
Yeah, huge result for Cass. You know, when Danny Ward come in, his first game was against Wakefield, and they got the win, and that wasn't enough. But this victory, with of course the loss of Wakefield, you've got to say that's saved Cass. Cass is still up now, so. All my in-laws are from Castleford, so they was all ringing me up, screaming, saying we're staying up. But no, pleased for the club. But it's been, you know, it's not been great. No one likes to be in a relegation battle, but you know, Castleford look like they've come out on top there.
I think there's some green shoots for Cass as well, especially the young winger Jason Gary, who he scored a couple, didn't he? He looked electric. So what it has done for Cass is let them blood a few younger players in massive games, and they'll get that experience. But it's been a bit of a disaster, but it could have been more disastrous if they'd have got relegated. So they'll start to plan, I'm sure, for next year now.
Huddersfield 18, Hull KR 26. We'll talk Hull KR in a moment. Huddersfield, what's gone wrong this term?
Everything.
I mean, the playoffs must have been a minimum.
Well, last year they made the cup final. They should have won the Challenge Cup. Yeah. Let's have it right. They played poor in the final. They played negative, I feel. And then they got knocked out of the playoffs, and it was classed as a disappointing year. This year they got knocked out of the cup by Salford, and then they've got nowhere near the playoffs. So it's a disaster when you think the resources, not only what they've brought in, but paying players off to go to other clubs. Ian Watson's brought his staff in. We know how good Ian Watson's record is, but for whatever reason, I still don't think they know the spine. The best combination all year, it's been chopping and changing. And I remember when I was at Huddersfield, they called Nathan Brown the Tinkerman. Well, I think Ian Watson deserves a better name than that, because the team has just had no continuity, and the consistency of results has reflected that.
And then on Sunday, Moz, we had a blockbuster on Channel 4. Golden Point try by Sam Stone. Salford beating your own club, Warrington. Your two old clubs playing each other.
Yeah.
Did you have a half and half scarf, did you, that day?
Who did he want to win?
Well, Salford, lad, so one Salford. But what a fantastic game, you know. The Channel 4 audience were, you know, entertained to the 10th degree. It was fantastic. It had everything, really, didn't it? You know, kept sweeping who was leading, and then Golden Point, and then Salford just sneaked it. But it was important for Salford to win it. If Salford didn't win, I don't think they could have made the playoffs now. It's still going to be tough, but they give themselves a chance now. But the actual game was fantastic, and I thought Salford probably deserved it in the end. I thought they played the better stuff. It wasn't a classic game in terms of the skill, but just for drama, it was fantastic.
Are you a fan of a Golden Point now you're not playing?
Yeah, no, I really am. It's you know, it's fantastic. You know, the players will probably argue, but just to you know, at the end of a game, just to, more often than not, you do get a result. There's very few draws now with Golden Point, but just the drama and, you know, all the different scenarios, and you know, I think it's great. I think it's here to stay. What would you argue?
Well, it's the entertainment industry, isn't it? And if you want to be entertained, as a player, you want to win. And as a fan that we are now, we want to watch drama like that. The ball, we was talking before, the ball from Singleton to Lafay, and then the feet by Burgess. The game wasn't a classic, but that were classic play. And they sort of needed that, because they dropped a couple of balls that gave Warrington a couple of tries. So I think they deserved it, and I believe that they'll get in the top 6 off the back of that result.
They've got Hull KR away. Obviously, huge game this weekend, which we'll talk about. Catalans at home. Warrington have got St Helens at home, Huddersfield away. And then Hull KR have got Salford and Wakefield away. Look, it's 2 from 3, isn't it, for the playoffs now?
Yeah, it is, and I think Warrington are the ones who have got a real tough run. I think going to Huddersfield is not going to be easy when they've got nothing to lose, Huddersfield, and they'll want to finish on a high. I'm sure Ken Davey will be going in there and saying, look, we need to just give some enjoyment to these fans, and obviously St Helens this week is going to be a very tough ask. So Salford will be eyeing up. I think they need to win at least one, but if they can win 2, they'll be safe.
Right, we'll talk about round 26 a little later in the show. So 2 games left. By the way, congratulations to York Valkyrie. League Leaders Shield, that's 2 years running for the York women. So the semi-finals are on Saturday the 23rd. It'll be York, Wigan and Saints and Leeds for those games. So well done to York getting the League Leaders Shield 2 years running. Right, we had loads of drama on Channel 4, Salford, Warrington. Then we had drama on the Sportsman. Watch this.
They're well in drop goal range. When will they go for it? This could be it. It comes back. The defence is really good. They're forced out to the left-hand side. Matt Reed wrestled to the ground 10 metres short. This is the last. They come back out. Now it's on, perhaps. He's got it! Toby Hughes has scored the drop goal that maybe, just maybe, has taken North Wales Crusaders on another week in these playoffs. From nowhere. From an error, 30 metres out from their own line. Wow. North Wales Crusaders have found themselves a point ahead.
Brilliant game, brilliant commentary from Lewis Smith as well. So North Wales now going to play Hunslet in the preliminary final, and the winner of that will go on to play Doncaster for a place in the Betfred Championship. We're bringing you both of those games live and exclusive here on The Sportsman. It was brilliant entertainment last Sunday, so hit that subscribe button.
You're watching The Sportsman Rugby League.
The home of Betfred Super League Online.
Tune in to Last Tackle every Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, subscribe to the Sportsman, so more live rugby this Sunday as well. So North Wales will play Hunslet. Looking forward to that. It was a great game. Unlucky to Oldham as well. It was a great game to watch last Sunday. Right, we'll talk the Betfred Super League in a moment, but let's talk internationals. We're 5 weeks away from their games against Tonga. Let's hear from the England coach.
There's a kind of excitement, a bit of fresh newness about this. Tonga, we've not played them in a test series before. You're obviously going to get 3 cracks at them. Are you excited to kind of test yourself in that environment?
Yeah. You look at the Tongan players, and they're very, very big, very athletic. We're going to get challenged in the contact area, no question. Detail needs to be good, but we're fit and strong, and we're brave Englishmen, and we're going to get challenged. But so are Tonga. That's the one thing I need to make the players aware of. We're going to really challenge them with physicality, and so it's got the makings of a great test series. And I just hope all the grounds are packed and not a seat spurned. There's a great atmosphere.
And it will be a different experience for you as well. A test series, playing the same team 3 weeks in a row. Is there a different skill set you anticipate as a coach for this? Because obviously in a World Cup environment, you're playing a different team every week. That first test, you'll probably be analysing Tonga as much as you are your own team.
Yeah, true, and they'll be analysing those. And yeah, it's a different sort of challenge, that, Lewis, but what I'm looking forward to, and we'll do our homework on Tonga. We had a chat about them last night. My players will be prepared, and we'll make sure the 3 weeks are very, very intense but enjoyable as well. And one positive from the World Cup is the amount of your older players like Elliot Whiten and Chris Hill saying it was the best 6 weeks of their life, and that gives me a lot of confidence that we did a lot of good things, and we just need to carry them on into this test series.
We're obviously going to be concentrating on an exciting end to the Betfred Super League season. It's going to be an exciting end in Championship and League One and the women's game as well. But it's good to have an international series to look forward to. Oh,
it's great. We've been desperate for this, and I think the fact that Tonga come over and we don't know the result is brilliant. I think the best game I ever played in was against Tonga. It was such a passionate group of men who we played against. The semi-final, and there's just nothing like it. And in terms of intensity, it was a proper test match. They definitely tested us that day. And one thing that Tonga will do is test them physically, like Shaun says there. But I think it's a masterstroke what they've done, bringing Lee Breers into the camp, and I'm sure he'll come up with some players. He'll know them NRL-based NRL Tongans, and he'll know how to unpick them with some attacking quality.
You always said one of your proudest moments in your career was putting on the England shirt or the Great Britain shirt as well. So it's good for these players to have a test series to look forward to, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. And I agree with Brownie, Tonga, and you put Samoa in there as well. There's no longer just the big three, England, New Zealand, Australia. Tonga and Samoa, they've beat England, they've beat Australia, they've beat New Zealand in recent years. So them coming over is going to be a massive test for England. But great for the British boys, whether they're playing the NRL or the Super League, that there's an opportunity not only to represent your country against really stern, tough opposition. And, it was such a disappointing World Cup. We played some fantastic stuff. Hopefully this series, will erase a few of the bad memories. But, can't wait for the Super League, don't get me wrong. But I'm really looking forward to this test series. It's going to be great.
Yeah, Moz has just said it was a disappointing World Cup, which it was for, obviously, England losing that semi-final. But it did show to everyone how good international rugby league can be.
Completely, and there's an appetite for the international game, and what we need to do is build on and build some history around Tonga versus England, make it like an Ashes, like every year we play them and we want to beat them, or every 2 years, because Tonga are that good now that you have to be very, very good if you want to win. And I think the history of it, once that gets going, our fans will buy into it, and like Wane is hoping for, I'll be getting a ticket. I think a lot of other people will, just to see the collision from both sides.
But the best game I went to was that wheelchair final of the World Cup. And they're going to play each other again as well in Leeds, which is brilliant.
Fantastic. I'll be honest, I didn't know a great deal about the wheelchair rugby league until the World Cup. Absolutely fantastic. You can't take your eyes off the action. The fact that England did particularly well, beating the world champs France in the final. Very dramatic final, but we get to see a rematch, and if it's half as entertaining as that final, we're in for a treat. So I can't wait.
You've tried it as well, haven't you, wheelchair?
I have. It's brutal. They don't mess about them boys. It's you know, it's hard for me, you know, didn't know what I was doing really, just trying to concentrate on getting the chair out.
Yeah, using your arms for that instead of that.
Well, exactly, yeah. But then you've got to concentrate on, you know, some of the skills them guys show are absolutely unbelievable.
It's the longest you stayed on the pitch. Have you tried it?
I've not. I'd love to try it. My son's tried it. John McMullen is someone who pushes the game onto all the lads in Wigan. So he's said he will take me down and show me a few things. So I'm pretty scared actually, because like Moz said, some of the collisions they're brutal. But I just hope that referee's not refereeing who was in the final.
Right, so 3 test matches, some women's internationals, and that wheelchair game as well. That's all to look forward to. But we're going to concentrate on the end of the Betfred Super League season now. Live on Sky. This is massive because Warrington are in 6th. St Helens are obviously going for a League Leaders Shield. It's Warrington versus St Helens, live on Sky on Friday night.
Dufty releases Ashton to go the distance. It's a brilliant Warrington try. Box it up to Williams. Williams to Rashford to score.
Batchelor back it comes to Makinson. Wonderful try from the
Right on his copybook tonight is Makinson. Makinson for a second of the night.
Friday night live on Sky, Warrington versus St Helens. Right then, must win for Warrington.
And for Saints, it's a must-win for both. Saints want to not only finish first and win the league leaders, but they want that home tie. So it's crucial for probably for Warrington more, because if they lose that, they drop out. I'm sure they drop out of the playoffs. And it's always, regardless where they are in position in the league, it's always a derby match. It's the rivalry. I didn't realise the rivalry until I played in one, but the bitterness that Warrington have over Saints because Shaun Long's dropped goals and killing them so many times. Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic game, but one that I think St Helens will go there. I just think the pressure on Warrington, they don't, you know, react well to pressure, especially at home. And if they go behind, I think the fans could turn on the club.
I was about to say about the fans, as a former skipper, you got a message for the fans. They've got to get behind them, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when Daryl Powell left the club, you know, they basically said, you know, we're not too concerned about the rest of this year, but they have picked up a couple of wins. Hopefully, better times.
Warrington have got to finish in the playoffs, haven't they?
Yeah, well, it's not for a club as big as Warrington. You'd say, yeah, but they didn't finish in the playoffs last year, and they had a disastrous
Well, on the back
run
of
this
last year, they've got to finish in the playoffs.
Well,
especially after that start they had as well.
It's going to be very tough. As Brownie said, I think Saints will be a bit more desperate for the 2 points on Friday. But you know, to finish the season proud, you know, your last home game, you want to at least put on a good show against the Saints. But this is a plum tie of Super League. No matter what year, no matter how the teams are going, you look at this fixture and think it's going to be a blockbuster. That I think it will be a fiery affair. But I just think the way Warrington's form leading into this game compared to Saints' form leading into this game, I think Saints will be favourite.
All right. I probably hate doing this, don't you? Prediction time.
Yeah, I think Saints. They have got a great record at the Halliwell Jones, regardless of the way the teams are going. I just think Saints, and I think 20 points.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think it'll be Saints by quite a few. I just think attack-wise, Lomax, Dodd and Wellesby, you've got Roby in there as well. I just think they're clicking at the right time, and they'll just be too good for a wounded Warrington.
Also on Friday night can prove what we expect mathematically on Friday night. Lee versus Wakefield.
Yeah, it'll be a party again at Lee. Derek will make sure of that, and Wakefield, yeah, it'll be the final nail in the coffin, I believe, and they'll go down, and unfortunately they'll be out the Super League next year. Lee, Wakefield.
Well, I think Wakefield will go down fighting. You know, there is a small mathematical chance, and you know, just as your personal pride, you want to finish with you know, good performances, and I think they'll go there and give it a good show. However, I just think, you know, even though they got beat last week, I thought Lee played very, very well. Their form's been great. Forget about winning the Challenge Cup final. You know, they're looking to the playoffs now, and I think at home advantage, I think Lee are going to be too strong for Waker.
Wigan Cass.
Wigan. It's at Wigan's ground. So yeah, just the way we're going to go into the form team of Super League. They went over to Catalans, put a massive score on Catalans. They went over to Headingley, put a massive score, and Leeds. And the fact they're at home against one of the weaker sides of the year, I think Cass, after last week, they'll be really pleased with the victory. But I think beating Wigan is a step too far, and I think it'll be a win. And similar to when they played Warrington last year, I think if they do build up a bit of a score, Cass's heads could go. It could be another 50 pointer.
Yeah, I think Cass probably celebrated a bit this week as well, because it's the first time all season that they've probably felt safe.
Right.
I think they go to Wigan and they're probably playing against the form team, and they're going to throw it around at home. And Wigan need to win to get the league leaders. So, yeah, I can't see past Wigan. And the way they've just been dismantling very good teams over the last 3 weeks, I can't see anything but a dominant Wigan win.
And a couple of games to finish on Saturday evening, both live on Sky as well. Catalan Dragons versus Leeds. Kev.
Yeah, well, Leeds need to show up, don't they? But they could, that's the thing. They give you every reason, Leeds.
Well, they won at Catalans last year, didn't they, the playoffs?
Yeah, and every time I think they're going to get beat, they come all right. And every
so
time,
inconsistent this time,
they're the most inconsistent side. It's almost like someone's flipping a coin, and it's not for which way they kick off, it's for how they're going to turn up. So if they turn up, they've got a chance. But Catalans, again, like we keep saying, they need this more than ever, because they want a home tie in the south of France in the playoffs. And I just think with Tompkins and Mitchell Pearce and Arthur Morgan at the back now, they look very balanced, and I just think they'll be too good. If both sides turn up the best, I think Catalans are the winners.
Yeah, I think they've had a bit of a wobble, the Catalan Dragons. However, knowing Steve McNamara, I think he would have refocused the team. He would have said we've got a one home game, one game on the road. And I think they're going to really focus on this one. Leeds not going particularly well. Tough place to go to with the travel, etc. So I think Catalans will win, and I think it's important. They need to win well to get a bit of confidence back.
And we finished Saturday night with a cracker, 5th versus 7th. Hull KR versus Salford.
Yeah, what a game that's going to be. I was at the game when they played in the Cup, and Hull KR were terrific that day. Obviously went on to make the final, but it's just such a difficult place because they do it right at Hull KR. They get like a little fan village going behind the post, they pack it out, and off the back of the success under Willie Peters, I think, there's probably not much tougher place to go at the moment than Hull KR for Salford. It's a long trip, but there is reason for Salford, and we know they can throw the ball around. If Brodie Croft can play like he can, I think they've got a massive chance of sneaking into that top 6 this weekend.
Yeah, this is the best tie of the round. There's so much at stake. Salford getting a couple of suspended players back. That win last week would have given him confidence, and they know they need to win at least one of the next 2 games, and they're going to really focus on this one. It's going to be tough. Hull KR are going particularly well, but I just think the Red Devils can just sneak it in a tight one.
Right, gents, I've enjoyed your company. I just want you to look into your crystal balls before we end. Who's going to win the league leaders? Kev?
Wigan.
Yeah, Wigan.
And right, if we take obviously Wigan, Catalan and St Helens, we know in the playoffs, Lear as good as. Who are the 2 sides that are going to join them? Hull KR, Warrington, Salford. Which 2 or 3?
Hull KR and Salford.
I agree. Yeah, I think even though
you never played for Hull KR, though?
No, never.
So I thought you were going to say Salford and Warrington.
I think they've got the tougher of the draw. It's important for Salford, I think, to go there and get a result. Hull KR. If they do that, Hull KR will still make it, and Salford will as well.
Gents, thanks for coming in. We'll do it all again next week when there'll just be 1 game left in the regular season in the Betfred Super League. Take care.